Andy Stern, president of the SEIU, once said, "Change is inevitable, but progress is optional, and leadership makes all the difference." Because I'm an officer in an organization that is responsible and accountable to our local community, I believe that it is necessary that we adopt a set of bylaws for our fire department. Bylaws are an integral part of an organization that designates guidelines on operation and structure. We as a volunteer fire department need to adopt bylaws to protect each member and our organization as a whole. This adoption will allow a firm set of guidelines for structure, operation, and overall performance of our organization that will benefit us and our community. We will discuss the advantages and opportunities that this adoption will afford. The legal definition of bylaws, according to Webster's Dictionary of Law, is a rule adopted by an organization chiefly for the government of its members and the regulation of its affairs. D.R. Hyman, author of Nonprofit Management 101, states that a matter of good governance, organizations need to have proper organization, which includes articles of incorporation, bylaws, and other relevant policies and procedures as applicable to the type of organization. Additionally, he states that tax-exempt organizations implement policies to demonstrate that they are effectively governed in the event of an audit or investigation. In addition to good governance, these are several other reasons for having established bylaws. In an article from PTO Today, Christy Forehand describes 4 primary reasons. We have consistency, which provides that rules and policies that have been documented in the forms of bylaws can be applied consistently so that emotion and personalities do not get involved. Efficiency, in that they include procedures for decision making so that the organization can conduct its business in accordance with the rules as effectively as possible. Protection from internal and external conflicts of financial risk. And finally, legitimacy of the organization means that it takes itself seriously. Bylaws give members assurance of the mission, structure, and policies of the group. In addition to proper governance, bylaws provide for operational structure. These provide written rules on how the organization is to be governed and the structure of the board and its operations. We have mission statement, the numbers and terms of the board members, meeting structure, as well as officer designations. These are all documented within the bylaws. According to the Georgia Center of Nonprofits, in addition to being required by most states, bylaws are needed to enable an organization to functionally, smooth, and effectively in working to reach its goals. A poorly organized and operated organization will not be effective and will not attract nor retain members. Also, an organization will usually be asked to submit a copy of its bylaws when applying for financial support. In a May 17, 2001 article in Fire Engineering Magazine, the firm of Wolfberg and Worth, LLC, states that bylaws of nonprofit organizations, including fire departments, must be consistent with state law and be kept up to date to factor in the need for change to ensure appropriate safeguards for individual members and the corporation. In our volunteer fire department, we are responsible to adhere to performance and training guidelines set forth at federal, state, and local levels. Training guidelines are designed to ensure that all personnel have, at the very least, minimal training to secure their personal safety and protection to the public in which we serve. There may be a time in which a volunteer says, "I'm a volunteer, you can't tell me what to do." Well, this is a false statement and may prove to be a costly one. We are held to a higher standard by those within our community. The public looks at us for confidence and assistance in what may be one of their worst days, whether it be a house fire, an automobile accident, or some other medical emergency. Without the proper training and strict adherence to guidelines set forth in our bylaws, our department may suffer loss too large to bear. In order to protect ourselves from ourselves, In order to protect ourselves, our organization, and the community as a whole, we must create and adopt proper bylaws. There are several options to include in our bylaws. According to Richard Gassaway in Fire Engineering Magazine article in 2003, these are the solutions to incorporate in our bylaws. Document a specific job description for each position within the department. Establish rules in writing and make sure all personnel have access to these rules. Determine the consequences of violation of the rules, taking into consideration a constructive position to cause change in behavior rather than to merely punish. And then finally, hold all members to the same standards without regard to popularity or favoritism. With proper design and implementation of bylaws, our department will reap the benefits. Most important benefits will be those seen and unseen. With proper and continued training, we will be in compliance with federal, state, and local regulations. Most of our funding is dependent upon proper record keeping and operational structure, and we'll gain the community support and confidence, which is most important. In keeping up with all guidelines and regulations, we will ensure that we maintain the ability to protect and to serve our community effectively. To wrap up, our adoption of a set of bylaws will be beneficial to all parties involved. I have presented you a variety of reasons and benefits to adopt your bylaws. I encourage each of you to consider these and make a decision to design and implement them as soon as possible. This will provide the protection as individuals and our organization as a whole, because we all know that being a firefighter is the greatest job in the world. Thank you.